We're flying in over the foothills of the Andes to find out what really happened in Venezuela. You know you're approaching Caracas when trees give way to the jumbled slums they call the ranchos. Here, houses of the city's poor are stacked on top of each other, encircling the luxury high-rises of Venezuela's elite. Last month, here in the capital, rich and poor crossed paths. At its simplest, the rich were trying to depose President Hugo Chavez, the poor were defending him. They traded bullets in the streets, police and National Guard joining in on opposite sides. Some generals sent in armored cars and announced the president had resigned. Chavez was seized and thrown onto a helicopter, which headed ominously out to sea.
Allí sí tuve la sensación.
I didn't know where we were going. I had that sensation, that feeling that I was being taken towards my death. I had a cross in my hand. I was very relaxed. I was ready to die.
While Chavez was in detention, he was able to smuggle out messages to his friend, Fidel Castro, who rang Latin American leaders to tell them Chavez had not resigned. This was a coup. Meanwhile, Chavez's ministers escaped to the hillside slums and raised the alarm. The poor marched on the city center, and loyal troops burst into the palace through secret tunnels. Coup plotters fled as Chavez returned in his helicopter. Violence is woven into everyday life here. There are 3 guns for every Venezuelan, not counting the police. The rich live under siege behind electric fences and gun turrets like these. This complex of apartments is home to Carmona Estanga, head of Venezuela's business association and leader of the coup. We wanted his version of events, and we knew where to find him. He's confined to his apartment, hardly different from normal life in Caracas.
Carmona's under house arrest. They're not going to let us bring in the cameras.
Ultimately, I got in with just a small tape recorder.
When you were arrested, were you afraid?
Where? No, never.
Never.
Carmona told me about his busy day as self-proclaimed president. He disbanded both the National Assembly and the Supreme Court. Not a popular move. Carmona berserker, bandit, they chant. And worse, a puppet of Uncle Sam.
The United States wants to oust President Chavez from power because they want our oil.
Chavez! Chavez! Chavez!
The United States don't have the clean hands.
Chavistas say the evidence points straight to the U.S. Embassy. Why were American military officers at the base where Chavez was held, and why did Ambassador Shapiro rush down the hill to meet with the coup leaders?
When I asked Carmona about the meeting, he was a little...
Shapiro.
Yes.
What did he tell you?
Well, he was just collecting information.
The embassy would not discuss Shapiro's meeting with Carmona. But our hunt for facts in Venezuela turned up many new, serious allegations of America aiding the coup d'etat. Of course, we invited the ambassador to give the U.S. version of events, but he refused to talk to us. So what is the evidence of U.S. involvement?
Well, let's go ask the president.
The Venezuelan president, that is. He's not everyone's idea of a perfect Democrat. Hugo Chavez led his own failed coup in 1992. He sees himself as the reincarnation of Bolivar, South America's great liberator from foreign oppression. He was concerned about the Americans, but he was friendly enough to me.
Yo tengo, por ejemplo, pruebas y las tengo por escrito.
I have, for example, proof, the written proof. I have the time of the entries and exits of the 2 military officers from the United States into the headquarters of the coup plotters.
Tengo sus nombres.
I have their names, who they met with, what they said, proof on video and on still photographs.
Was the U.S. Navy providing help to the plotters? Intruders were spotted, but Chavez is wary of concluding they were sent by George Bush.
Y en verdad tengo en mis manos.
I have in my hands a radar image of a military vessel that came into Venezuela water on the 13th of April. I have radar images of a helicopter that takes off from that ship and flies over Venezuela, and of other planes that violated Venezuela airspace.
He wouldn't hand us the evidence because, he says, the investigation is in progress.
Por eso el pueblo nunca lo creyó. Ahora a trabajar todo el mundo y a...
Comandante Garcia Ponce goes further. Ponce holds the title of Political Director for the Defense of the Bolivarian Revolution. The Venezuelan Foreign Ministry believes the U.S. electronically jammed mobile phones and radio communications. Garcia Ponce charges there was U.S. money behind a plot to assassinate President Chavez even before the coup.
Que las informaciones que hemos recabado, que recabamos con anterioridad.
From the information we've gathered, credible information, there are three components to the killing of our president. One of them was through Colombian paramilitaries. The second was the financing coming from Miami and technical assistance in tracking our president wherever he goes. Financial help to Venezuelan plotters from North America.
We haven't seen his evidence yet. U.S. Secretary of State Colin Powell denies absolutely any American involvement. And why would the U.S. entangle itself in a half-baked Latin American coup? We felt we'd have to leave Caracas to find the answer.
You want to know what this is all about? Take a look down there. Oil.
And lots of it. You can fill your car for 7 pence a liter. This country's one big oil well, the #1 exporter of oil to the USA, bigger than Saudi Arabia until 1998 when Hugo Chavez won election. He took the U.S. by surprise when he restored the power of OPEC by slashing Venezuela's oil production. That pushed oil prices up from $10 to over $20 a barrel. Chavez also doubled the royalties charged some foreign oil companies. That cheered the poor in the ranchos, but won Chavez the wrath of his own oil workers and the American petroleum industry. Today, the new muscular OPEC is run by Chavez's ally, Ali Rodriguez, once a leftist guerrilla fighting in the Venezuelan mountains.
Do you believe that part of the concern of the United States is over oil?
Of course, the dependence of the United States on oil is increasing progressively. And Venezuela is one of the most important suppliers of the United States. And the stability of Venezuela is very important for the United States.
Could this explain why the plotters rushed to depose Chavez before they were prepared? The timetable is telling. Israel entered Palestinian territory in March, prompting talk of a new oil boycott by Arab nations against America. On Monday, April 8, Iraq announced an end to oil exports. On Tuesday, Iran and Libya threatened to join. If the boycott went ahead, America would be utterly dependent on Venezuela's oil. Could the U.S. allow Chavez to remain in power in control of America's oil lifeline, especially when his opponents were offering to ditch OPEC? Ali Rodriguez at OPEC HQ in Vienna had advanced notice of the oil producers' moves. Newsnight has learned that Rodriguez called Chavez with a warning that a coup was imminent.
Did the president understand your warning?
Yes, of course, but the problem with this kind of activities is that they are very secret, and only a little group of people knows the plans.
Chavez confirmed the warning. So when the coup rushed ahead, Chavez was prepared.
Si fue una llamada.
Yes, it was a call of alert to decrease those possible risks. That call helped me.
Chavez instructed his oil minister to issue a statement saying Venezuela would not join an embargo, but it was too late. Now, in the aftermath of April's upheaval, militant Chavistas demand rough justice for Carmona's crew. But Venezuela has returned to its older, gentlemanly ways.
The National Assembly is investigating the coup. It's quite blatant here, considering that just days ago, these guys were pointing guns at each other.
Inside, Carmona, coup leader, had been summoned from house arrest by the National Assembly. He's insisting his bungled ousting of Chavez was not really a coup. The Assembly wants to know about American involvement. The Assembly is also investigating why TV stations such as RCTV twisted coverage to aid the coup. Another media mogul under suspicion is Gustav Cisneros. While the coup was in progress, Cisneros met with Bush's man in charge of Latin America, Otto Reich. Propaganda is Reich's forte. He's infamous for his role in the illegal funding of Contra-terrorists who tried to overthrow Nixon.